Good morning, Stephanie. Good morning, Mark. Welcome. Hi, Kamala.
Good morning and welcome. Welcome to our service from the Unitarian Society of Northampton in Florence. I'm Craig Dreesen, a member of the Stewardship Committee. I'm here to say thank you. If you're new or returning after time away, we're glad to see you. Feel free to fill out a blue welcome card, which you can put in the offering plate. There's also a link to the online version in the chat. We'll put you on the email list so you can receive information about all that we do. We strive to be a congregation that welcomes people of all ages, races, religious beliefs, sexual orientations, gender identities, and abilities. We belong to the Unitarian Universalist Association of Congregations and are guided and inspired by its values and principles. Our values and principles move us to remember that those of us in Pioneer Valley live in the unceded homeland of the Pocumtuck, Nonotuck, and Western Nipmuc peoples. We acknowledge our responsibility to confront the legacies of dispossession and systematic racism that are part of our collective history, and we affirm and celebrate the many legacies that inspire us. We have drawing materials and other ways to occupy hands at the tables at the back of the Great Hall. Restrooms are downstairs and can be entered through either of these doors. Take the stairs or the elevators and return the same way. Our stewardship campaign ends today. Thank you to all who responded so generously, and thank you to our dedicated stewardship volunteers and stewardship committee. We've heard from most of our members and many of our friends, and we've raised from 125 families and individuals. We've raised about 90% of what we did last year, but we're still short of what's required. So volunteers will start calling tonight. So for those of you who have misplaced your pledge letters, you can expect a call this evening, or you can save us the call and you can pick up a pledge form at the back of the hall or pledge online. And we'll accept pledges anytime, of course. In the coming days, the trustees will start calculating how we can fulfill our responsibilities to the staff and all the expenses that keeps this place operating. So timely response to our call is appreciated. Every gift matters. Everyone here at home is helping sustain this congregation. So when we greet each other later, you might start by saying thank you. So I'll add my thank you. One quick announcement, the USNF The Vote team hopes you'll join them for next Sunday, that's Sunday's concert with Annie Patterson and Fiery Hope. It's a benefit for Movement Voter Project. It's at 2 p.m. We're here to celebrate, to reflect, and to support one another. It's good to be together. We will now begin our service.
To be of the earth is to know the restlessness of being a seed, the darkness of being planted, the struggle toward the light, the pain of growth, the joy of bursting and bearing fruit, the love of being food for someone, the scattering of your seeds, the decay of the seasons, the mystery of death, and the miracle of birth. I invite you now to rise in body or spirit and join in saying the words to accompany lighting our chalice. And immediately after that, we will sing hymn 1040, and we'll sing the first 3 verses, and then we'll sing the first verse again. As the kindling of this chalice calls us to community, let there be light. As this flame reminds us of our values, let there be light. And as its glow encourages us to hope, let there be light.
Good morning. Our story this morning is Bodies Are Cool by Tyler Feder. And it has a message that I wish I had when I was a kid. And I'm glad to share with you all, and especially the young people here, about how awesome bodies are, all bodies. And hopefully you can see the pictures because they show such a beautiful array of bodies and abilities and sizes and shapes. Big bodies, small bodies, dancing, happy, playing bodies. Look at all these different bodies. Bodies are cool. Lanky bodies, squat bodies, tall, short, wide, and narrow bodies. Somewhere in the middle bodies, Bodies are cool. Round bodies, muscled bodies, curvy curves and straight bodies, jiggly wiggly fat bodies. Bodies are cool. Dark skin, olive skin, every shade of brown skin, pinky pale or peach skin. Bodies are cool. Poofy hair, I know about that. Wavy hair, springy curls and flat hair, lots of hair or no hair. Bodies are cool. Leg hair, armpit hair, fuzzy lip and chin hair, brows meet in the middle hair. Bodies are cool. Hazel eyes, brown eyes, monolids and round eyes, blind and wearing glasses eyes. Bodies are cool. Crooked faces, bumpy nosed faces, flat nose, full lips, gapped tooth faces, stick out ears and thin lip faces. Bodies are cool. Hairy fingers, wrinkly fingers, dimpled elbows, chubby fingers, wobbly arms and stubby fingers. Bodies are cool. Oops, I was on the wrong page. Okay, here we are in the pool. Soft tummies, saggy tummies, flat or sticky outy tummies, innies, outies, pregnant tummies. Would you like to join me? Bodies are cool. Faint scars, bold scars, stripes from getting bigger scars, marks that tell a story scars. Bodies are cool. Sorry, I was on the wrong page again. This body, that body, his and her and their body, however you define your body. Growing bodies, aging bodies, features rearranging bodies, magic, ever-changing bodies. Thank you. My body, your body, every different kind of body. All of them are good bodies. Thank you.
Now it's time for us to greet one another. You can turn around and wave to all the cool-bodied people out there on Zoom. Hello, cool-bodied people on Zoom. And then turn around and say hello to one another. Hello, cool bodies on Zoom. Good morning to all of you. Hi, Steve and Teresa. I not move a video while people are spotlighting. Well, unspotlighting them. Who else is there? Hi, Sally. Sally Weiss, Christine, and John, Joanna, Laura, nice to see you. Steph. Hi, Mark. Hi, Bill. Who else is there? Sally Lawton, Eric, good to see you. Hi, Laura. Nancy, hello, good morning. Mary Beth, who else is there? Hi, Susie. Peg Johnson, nice to see you. Peggy, hello. It was so great to see you in person last Sunday, I guess. Georgia, hi, Janet. We miss you. We miss you in choir. Hey, Greg. Hi, Lori. So good to see you all. All you on Zoom and everybody in the hall. We are a mighty force. And I hope you get out and get to enjoy the sun today. Now it's time for everyone who is heading for religious education classes and activities to leave us, and we'll sing you out.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Julie Chandler, and I am one of your Board of Trustees. My term is going to be ending this May, and a couple of weeks ago, I was approached by somebody on the nominating committee and asked me to say a little about why I decided to serve. A couple of months ago, I was approached by Nancy Whittier from the nomination committee to share briefly why I chose to serve on the Board of Trustees. About this time of year 3 years ago, I was contacted by Bill Diamond, who at that time was serving on the nominating committee, and he approached me to see if I would serve on the nominating committee. And as I have been on the nominating committee in the past, and I had served just 2 years prior to that, so I had asked him, I said, well, is there anything else? Like, are there any openings on the board? And his eyes lit up and was like, nobody volunteers and asks to be on the board. So he said, well, I really think that we're all set with that right now. But I'll be sure to pass it along, as Mimi shared and other people, Nancy shared before, about keeping track of who does what and when and who we've asked for things. So they said, oh, we're gonna keep that. So now, of course, my phone is doing something weird. I had problems with my computer this morning and couldn't print this. He shared, let's see, So I said I did not feel bad about saying no to the NomCom, as I had served on it at least 3 times before in the 29 years, nearly 29 years that I've been a member here. I knew I could find some other way to give back. Fast forward a couple of weeks, and I got a phone call from Bill saying that one of the nominees for the Board of Trustees had a personal issue come up and was not going to allow them to be able to serve. Did I want to serve on the board? And I was honored, and I quickly said yes, although then in my next thought was, oh no, what did I get myself into? But why did I decide to say yes? I decided to serve as I have been a member of this congregation for nearly 29 years. And we, the members and friends, are what keep the business of this place moving along, from the advanced planning that the worship committee does to have the great musicians and speakers, to this work of the Safe Relations Committee, who makes it sure our building is a safe place for all of us and for new people who cross our threshold, who add to the spirit of faith and service and alive, I dare say, thriving these days. Another reason I decided to offer to serve was because more times in my life, wait a second, I had a more time. Oh, and another reason that I decided to serve now was that I had time in my life, because I was a single parent of a young child for a long time, and he's now almost 27, and I had more time. So it has been a wonderful experience serving as one of your trustees, and I will miss the monthly Zoom meetings, which have been very interesting, thoughtful, and productive, and allowed me to be able to get to know some members of our congregation that I might not have otherwise. I too, as others have shared, next page. Where am I? I'm sorry. I too, as others have shared, came mostly to this place to find a religious education for my son. I was raised in the Catholic religion and I no longer identified with the tenets and doctrines of that, but I felt like I wanted my son exposed to the religions of the world. CBBL, who spoke to us last week, was the Director of Religious Education at the time, and that was one of the first places I got involved here with the RE Council in teaching. As others have said, how nice that hour break was from parenting little ones, and is for many of you now. Over the years, I participated in many groups and learning opportunities, including cooking meals for Grove Street Inn and Cathedral in the Night. And there's a group of people this afternoon that are going to be cooking downstairs after the service for that. So feel free to go check that out. The welcoming congregations, small group ministries, and walking in the hot chocolate run, and the pride parade celebrating love. All of these experiences have made USNF my spiritual home and have made me feel an ownership of this building and the community of seekers we are. I can only hope that in another 100 years from now, this community will be preparing to celebrate the 300th founding of the UUSNF and our strong presence here in the Western Mass community.
Good morning. I'm Molly Hale, and there's a mistake in the order of meeting. I'm not doing the stewardship testimonial. Instead, I'm doing the social justice minute. So just turn your minds around. And as a member of the Climate Action Group, I'm making this social justice minute about plastic bag recycling. I'm guessing that most of us cringe a little bit every time we have to use a plastic product. We know about the Pacific garbage patch and about sea turtles, albatrosses, whales, and dolphins dying of starvation by mistaking plastic bags for jellyfish or other food. We all do our best to choose reusable grocery bags and to reuse the plastic bags that products come in. And we know that plastic bags are a no-no to include with the household plastic, glass, and metal that we take to the transfer station or that gets collected by our waste hauler. But many of us aren't aware that many types of plastic bags and flexible packaging are actually recyclable through another pathway. Both Big Y and Stop and Shop in Northampton collect various types of plastic bags and plastic wrap for recycling. The bins are located in the bottle return areas. You may be thinking, as I once did, they don't really recycle those bags, they're just greenwashing. But you'd be mistaken. I learned that the plastic bags are sold to the Trex company, who processes the plastic and mixes it with sawdust to make their trademark decking. A standard 16-foot Trex board contains recycled material from approximately 2,250 plastic bags. You may be even more surprised to learn of the variety of plastics that can be recycled through this channel. Not only grocery, bread, and produce bags, but bubble wrap, case and pallet overwrap, saran wrap, newspaper sleeves, ice bags, Ziploc bags, paper towel and toilet paper overwrap, cereal box liners, dry cleaner bags, and even any color of those mailer bags from Amazon or other sources. All items should be dry and free of food residue. Examples of items not to include are compostable plastics, pet or bird food bags, frozen food bags, which surprised me, chip bags, candy wrappers, six-pack rings, pre-washed salad bags, any net or mesh bags, and shiny crinkly films like floral wrap. Are you confused? Some handy questions to ask are, is the item stretchy? If it is, it can be recycled. If it doesn't stretch, it cannot be recycled. Is the item labeled with a number 2 or number 4 recycling symbol? If so, it can be recycled. Is the package shiny, or does it make a really loud crinkly sound like a chip bag when handled? If so, it cannot be included in the Trex program. So this tells you, you people at Zoom have this on your screen. There were handouts at the door that hopefully everybody got. If you didn't get one, there's some up here, and there may be some left in the back that have acceptable and non-acceptable. And after the service, I brought a bag of various different items if you want to look through, and you can quiz yourself on how well you might know which ones are which. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Molly. That was very inspiring. Every week we take an offering to support the good work we do within these walls and to support organizations outside them. Half of our Sunday collections go to organizations in the community that members of the congregation have nominated and the coordinating council chooses. Everything we do makes what happens here possible. Your generosity, all of our generosity, makes a big difference. Our morning offering will now be given and very gratefully received. We have a brief meditation followed by a song that Ellen and I will sing to you, and then we'll have a moment of silence, followed by all of us singing together, voice still and small, and you're welcome to stay seated for that. We carry the world with us. The atrocities of war in Gaza and Ukraine, the threat to our planet home, the dangers to our political system, to human dignity, to human rights, the tragedies in the lives of people we know and love. We are thinking, caring people, and we carry all this in our bodies, even when our minds are somewhere else. So I invite you to take a moment to notice all the cares your body is holding. And for a few moments here, set them down. Loosen, loosen, baby. You don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Loosen, loosen, baby. You don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Holy breath and holy name, will you ease this pain? Holy breath and holy name, will you ease this pain? Loosen, loosen, baby. You don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Loosen, loosen, baby. And you don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Will you ease this pain? Loosen, loosen, baby. And you don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Let go, let go, let go. It's a poem called The Layers by Stanley Kunitz. I have walked through many lives, some of them my own, and I am not who I was, though some principle of being abides, from which I struggle not to stray. When I look behind, as I am compelled to look before I can gather strength to proceed on my journey, I see the milestones dwindling toward the horizon and the slow fires trailing from the abandoned campsites, over which scavenger angels wheel on heavy wings. Oh, I have made myself a tribe out of my true affections, and my tribe is scattered. How shall the heart be reconciled to its feast of losses? In a rising wind, the manic dust of my friends, those who fell along the way, bitterly stings my face. Yet I turn exulting somewhat, with my will intact to go wherever I need to go, and every stone of the road precious to me. In my darkest night, when the moon was covered and I roamed through wreckage, a nimbus-clouded voice directed me, live in the layers, not on the litter. Though I lack the art to decipher it, no doubt the next chapter in my book of transformations is already written. I am not done with my changes.
Poem, and it inspired me to sing this song, which may seem like a strange choice, but I see this song as a rebirth song. You must leave now, take what you think will last. But whatever you wish to keep, you better grab it fast. Yonder stands your orphan with his gun, crying like a fire in the sun. Look out, the saints are coming through, and it's all over now, baby blue. The highway is for gamblers, better use your sense. Take what you have gathered from coincidence. The empty-handed painter from your streets is drawing crazy patterns on your sheets. This sky too is folding under you, and it's all over now, baby blue. All your seasick sailors, they're all rowing home. Your empty-handed army is all going home. Your lover who just walked out your door has taken all his blankets from your floor. The carpet too is moving under you, and it's all over now, baby blue. Leave your stepping stones behind now. Something calls for you. Forget the dead you left, they will not follow you. The vagabond who's rapping at your door is standing in the clothes that you once wore. Strike another match, go start anew. And it's all over now. It's all over now. It's all over now. Baby blue. I have walked through many lives, some of them my own, and am not who I was, though some principle of being abides from which I struggle not to stray. Throughout our lives and throughout our changes, the poet tells us, some principle of being abides. I preached with that poem as my text in Hartford, Connecticut on February 8th, 2009. The 7 members of this congregation search committee were guests in the pews there. 5 of them are here in the hall or online this morning. That was a different sermon for a different time and a different purpose. And I guess they probably liked it well enough, because here I am. It's a poem that can speak to us at any age or phase of our lives. Do I know who you are? Do you know who I am? Do I know who I am? Do you know who you are? As part of my spiritual practice, I often find a brief reading before I sit in silence. And it's often something from Howard Thurman, because he has so much richness and depth in what he writes. And this past week, I opened to something titled, If I Knew You. He wasn't a poet. He wrote, if I knew you and you knew me, and each of us could clearly see by that inner light divine the meaning of your heart and mine, I'm sure we would differ less. And he goes on to say that to understand anything meaningful, including another person, we have to commit to hard work. He says also that we have to fool around, he puts that in quotes, at the edges of another's life to get closer and closer to the central place. And I think that's probably also true about getting to know ourselves. to know the abiding principle of our own being, the center of who we are. And then there's the Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu, who may or may not have existed, who wrote that at the center of your being, you have the answer. At the center of your being, you have the answer. You know who you are, and you know what you want. There is no need to run outside for better seeing, nor to peer from a window. Rather, he says, abide at the center of your being. What is that? What is the center of your being, and what abides there? What does your heart know? And does it know the same things now that it knew when you were a child or when you were 20? What it knew 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 50 years ago? Some of you of a certain age might recognize A.A. Milne's poem, When I Was 6. When I was 1, I just begun. When I was 2, I was nearly new. When I was 3, I was hardly me. When I was 4, I was not much more. When I was 5, I was just alive. But now I'm 6. I'm clever as clever. So I think I'll be 6 now forever and ever. Milne was better known as the creator of Winnie the Pooh, but I grew up on his poetry as well when I was very little. And when I was 4 and a half, my sister Betsy turned 6. And that was the poem that she would ask my mother to read to us, and then she would gloat. That's what happens when you're second. One of my very early memories, I couldn't have been 3 yet, I must have been 2 and a half, is of following Betsy down an unshoveled path outdoors around part of our house, bundled up in squeaky snow pants, snow way above my knees, maybe to my waist, excited, a little frightened. I concentrated on trying to step in the track that her footsteps were making as she led us forward, saying, deeper, 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 deeper. It is one of my earliest memories. In possibly all cultures, birth order has made and makes a difference in forming who we are and determining our place in the scheme of things. Something at the center of our being, I think, has something to do with where we were in that pile, if there was a pile. It's now a matter of disagreement among psychologists whether birth order affects personality, however you define personality in consistent ways. But it is demonstrable that parents treat firstborns and laterborns differently, if not because firstborns are the only child for a while. And a child's experience in the family does have an impact on their development and behaviors. Being first comes with privilege and responsibility in many cultures and in many families. I know this because, as many of you know, I have a Filipina daughter-in-law. And in the Philippines, the eldest is expected to take responsibility for the younger ones, and they are expected to pay attention. Younger siblings still use honorifics, terms of respect, when they speak to or refer to their elders. So my grandson, the youngest, refers to his sisters as ate, Ate Cassandra and Ate Kylie. And if he forgets, if he doesn't do it, someone will correct him, including the middle one, Kylie. That's Ate Kylie to you, pal. So I'm a combination of middle and older, and I can see how that has affected me. Probably, as I said, part of what abides. And I suspect, again, that a lot of who we were as children is still at the core of who we are. So 6 is the age, 5 or 6 for me, I begin to remember more. The memories are easy to date. Partly because elementary school was a new world outside the home, and each teacher was memorable, some more than others, each in her own way, like Miss Cobb, who read from the Psalms every morning. That was the year before they changed the law, when I was in 4th grade. I was expected as a child and mostly wanted to be good. I was expected not to make trouble, not to break rules. I was expected and wanted to be the best or among the best in all of the academic parts of school. I was jealous of the kids who were athletes and the ones who could draw. I was always more serious than silly, but with silly moments. And I was aware of and indignant about injustice. And what I remember is the story of the Chirkandus, who was shunned by the other barnyard birds because he was different. I was a lover of learning, of stories, of poems, my family. Capable of moments of pure happiness, with nothing weighing on me. A believer in God, although sometimes confused about how it could be a father and also invisible and also everywhere at the same time. And I didn't really try to wrap my head around Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. It was just this marvelous part of the liturgy. Some of the songs, praise Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. Glorious music from the adult choir. But it wasn't part of the theology that my church spent any time on, so I didn't have to understand it. The church my family attended started a children's choir when I was 8, and I was an alto. And I loved learning to read music as a singer and to sing the lower parts, to sing the harmony. I have walked through many lives, some of them my own, and I am not who I was. What are the things that change us, that make us not who we were? The door between our back entry in the house I grew up in and the kitchen was one on which my family kept track of the heights of me and my sisters and brother. And there's a different family's record in the house Booker and I now live in that's inscribed in red ink on the doorframe to the basement. It's kind of cool to look at it. Those marks make me think of tree rings that are formed each year in the outer cambium region of the tree's trunk. That's the region where cell division happens, beginning when the days grow longer and warmer and ending in the fall. And that's why there's a unique layer for every year. Trees with greater access to the sugars needed to produce growth will have wider rings than other trees of the same age. And tree biologists are starting to learn more about what else ring development can tell us about the history of that tree, what it experienced each year. So Jessica is using the book she read earlier, the Bodies Are Cool book in the RE classes downstairs. So she asked me to see if I could fit it in somehow to the theme of today's service. And it is clear that I am not who I once was because my body has changed, right? From when I was born to that excited 2-year-old struggling in the snow, to a chubby preteen and adolescent, a young adult, and then through parenthood. That changes your body if you're a woman who bears a child, middle age, and now the edge of elderhood. Think for yourself what experiences have changed you. Think about what a study of your own tree rings might show. Learning to live on one's own, becoming self-supportive, developing a professional identity, developing a new professional identity, changing jobs or the place we call home, becoming a parent, having a mentor, the illness or serious trouble or death of someone close to us. All of these change our lives and change us. When they were in their 20s, both of our sons struggled in different ways, the ways that caused us a lot of worry. And I think it's true that those experiences, Brooke Booker would agree with me that those experiences taught us both humility. I know I'm much more humble now about my own powers and my own wisdom. And I'm very grateful for the ways they have emerged from those times. It's all over now, baby blue, but strike another match and go start new. And as Stanley Kunitz said, I am not done with my changes. He wrote that poem when he was in his mid-60s, and he died in 2006, a few months shy of his 102nd birthday. So he had a long way to go when he wrote that poem. At 95, he was named Poet Laureate of the United States. And in an interview then, he said that he wrote the layers after he'd lost several members of his family, his mother, his two oldest sisters, and he had lost as well several of his dearest friends. He said, it was a time when I felt I was ready for a change, ready to gather my strengths again and move in a new direction. And something else I came upon from Howard Thurman. He wrote, it's harder for those who are older to keep their horizons open. He says, the first part of your life, everything is in front of you, all your potential and all your promise. And over the years, you make decisions. You carve yourself into a given shape. Then the challenge is to keep discovering the green growing edge. So I started seminary when I was 50. And I started as the minister here when I was 56. That was definitely a new direction. And as I move into retirement, which of course I'm thinking about, I know it'll take time to sift through and discover more of the meaning in what has changed, blossomed, fallen away, and to discover a new direction or several new directions. Later in Kunitz's poem, near the end, he writes, in my darkest night, when the moon was covered and I roamed through wreckage, a nimbus-clouded voice directed me, live in the layers, not on the litter. And he said in that same interview that the words came to him in a dream. He said, in the middle of the night, I'd had this dream of a voice out of a cloud, and the voice said, live in the layers, not in the litter. And then he went on, I think it's important for one's survival to keep the richness of the life always there to be tapped. One doesn't live in the moment, one lives in the whole history of our being, from the moment we become conscious. We live in the whole history of our being from the moment we become conscious. And of course, to live in that history, we need to be able to access it, attend to it, put some of it in places where the parts that hurt us can no longer do their deepest harm, and know and own whatever the principle of being is that abides for each of us. We learn, we grow, we change. Our histories, personal and communal, are composed of story and facts and ideas, layers and litter. They may have broken pieces that may or may not provide reliable clues. There are truths within truths also in all those layers. Mysteries and surprises, loss and hope, things that change, and principles that abide. I wish for us all that we find our wills intact to go wherever we need to go, every stone of the road precious. And that even in dark times, we know the gifts in the layers, the gifts in the fullness of our lives. Our final hymn this morning is number 128, For All That Is Our Lives.
I invite you to rise in body or spirit and join in singing. It's actually For All It Is Our Life. The grammar is odd either way. We receive fragments of holiness, glimpses of eternity, brief moments of insight. Let us gather them up for the precious gifts that they are, and renewed by their grace, move boldly into the unknown. Go in peace.